gentlemen.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Firing up another hour here. We've got tons to talk about still. And if you missed any of our conversations we've had so far today, BYU Insider for KSLSports.com, Mitch Harper joined us at 4 o'clock. Steve Ashburner from NBA.com also joined us last hour, so go check it out. Download any of the segments, any of the podcasts that you need to be able to get caught up. I know that it's kind of a slow time of year right now, right? Because camp is going on, and the very first couple of weeks of camp, we were so excited. And then when the third week hits, we kind of go, okay, this,
teams practice today, and that's about all we have for you.
Right, and at this point, you just don't want to hear a season-ending injury update. And at BYU, maybe you want the quarterback battle stuff, but even then, you're like, well, we're a couple weeks away from the game. Maybe let's wait till then anyway. We'll see. Should be very, very fun. But in the meantime, the NBA schedule drop, things like that, that gets us excited. But there's also something to consider as well. A couple things going on. First, our program is brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar perfect for anybody who needs a quick, tasty, and nutritious boost. Find them at Costco, Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods, and Trajan Wealth. Trajan Wealth, Trajan Wealth.com. That's TrajanWealth.com for all your trusted local financial needs. Let's kick off the program here as we always do with the cut. We'll jump in right here. I've got some projected playoff situations here in the college football playoff. I have absolutely tons of problems with it. But if you're a Utah fan, it should be very, very exciting. Some of these other teams, though, bleh. Let's get to it. It's the cut.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, so here's what we have. CBS Sports put together a couple things here, and one of our favorites is the bowl projection. Does this count as a way too early? Is this considered a way too early?
This is way too early.
Big time.
A game hasn't even been played
Of course
yet.
not.
Why are we projecting bowls?
I know.
Because we can.
If you're wondering where App State, which is going to be playing Wake Forest.
I've been dying to know.
It's in the Gasparilla Bowl.
Okay.
Is Gasparilla, is that a beverage?
Sounds like something they used to drink back in the 30s.
Is it Gasparilla or is so? Tell me what Gasparilla is. Oh, Jeremy's looking, efforting. But of course, these don't really matter that much. What is it? Is it lawnmowers?
No. On their website, of course, the second thing, big bold. What is Gasparilla?
Yeah. Okay.
Because we're like, well, no. Inspired by the legend of pirate Jose Gaspar, ye mystic knew. Well, I'm not going to read this the way it's put it. I think it's
is
tourism.
This pornographic? We can't read it?
No.
Oh.
It's written like pirate talk. So I'm not going to go there and do that.
You're not going to do ye old anything? Okay.
Ye mystic crew of Gasparilla.
What the heck is it? You didn't help me.
This is directly on their page, so you get after them. Tourism, I'm guessing.
For Gasparilla? Is that a place?
There's a picture of a pirate ship on there.
Okay.
So they're not helpful.
It's a Tampa thing.
Oh, is it their version of like Lagoon?
Sure.
Okay.
The Gasparilla Pirate Festival is a large parade and a host of related community events in Tampa, Florida.
Why was not on their homepage? It says big bold. What is Gasparilla? And it did not tell me any of that.
Answer?
No answer. What I read to was terrible.
Gasparilla? Nobody knows. Back to you. Okay.
It's the last Saturday in January in Tampa.
Okay.
That's not when the bowl game's played.
No, bowl game's December 20th.
It's actually it's not just a one-day thing.
Oh my gosh, I hate
it.
All
Starts
this.
in mid-January with a children's parade.
Okay.
Then the Parade of Pirates, and then it ends in early March with the Outward Voyage Home.
I regret all
you
of
asked.
This. I know. I thought it was a beverage.
Asking.
I thought it was a beverage. I'm so sorry.
There's a slam fishing tournament, whatever that is.
Yeah, that's where you catch the fish, but you slam it on the ground.
First annual, so be prepared.
Okay.
300,000 people attend this festival.
Okay. Of course they do. I will say Tampa is an awesome place. I like Tampa.
You're the one?
I like it. And the food's actually pretty darn good, too. There's some good food scenes down there in Tampa. All right? I'll put a flag in the ground for Tampa. I like it. But I'm not going to be there for the Gasparilla Bowl. However, our guy, Jerry Palm, has put together some bowl predictions. The things that stick out are the college football playoff predictions, first off, okay? And what's exciting about this is just being able to read some of these off. So the December 20th or 21st matchup between the Alabama Crimson Tide, who would be hosting
Roll damn Tide.
I know, who would be hosting the Miami Hurricanes. You heard right. Miami, according to Jerry Palm, is your 10 seed in the college football playoff. You know what that means? That means there's some stinking ACC team somewhere else in this whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then look at Oregon, who's a 6 seed on this. Fine, I'm okay with that. I don't think Oregon's going to come out of this thing unscathed their first year. They would be hosting Kansas State. You know what that means? Kansas State, the 11 seed. Do the math, Utah fans. That means there are 2 Big 12 teams that are a part of this as well. All right, I'll go on. Penn State would travel to. This is where the list of Jerry Palm's predictions as to what teams are going to be in the college football playoff really goes off the rails. Penn State, the 9 seed, would travel to College Station, Texas A&M.
What drug is he on?
Yeah,
Texas A&M in the playoff?
I don't understand it. I don't understand why Texas A&M always gets this love. Now, the most intriguing matchup to me, though, is the 5th seeded Texas Longhorns. And if you're doing your math correctly as well, that is Oregon, Penn State, and Texas. That would be Texas A&M, Texas, and that's it. And Alabama so far in the SEC. That's 3 teams just in seeds 5 through 12. Okay, so Texas would be playing host to your G5 champion, who would be Boise State. Now that's intriguing to me. I like the idea of Boise State going on Austin.
This is the fun of the college football playoff.
Because that's a game that feels winnable for the 12 seed.
Yeah.
If a 5th seeded Texas is there and they're hosting Boise State on December 21st down in Texas. Okay? Now, they have the top 4 seeds as follows. Number 4 from the ACC, Florida State. Number 3 from the Big 12. And from Salt Lake City, the University of Utah Utes. Yeah, look at that. Now, again, Jerry Palm, you lost me at Texas A&M, but you had us back at Utah. All right? Ohio State would be the 2 seed in his scenario, and Georgia would be the 1 seed. So it'd be Sugar Bowl for Georgia and whoever they face in the next round, Rose Bowl for Ohio State, Fiesta Bowl for the Utes, Peach Bowl for the Florida State Seminoles. The thing is that I think for the most part, that 1 through 4 could absolutely be the case. You have to have the ACC champion in there. You have to have a Big 12 champion in there. I think Utah would be a better champion of their conference than Florida State. And Ohio State and Georgia, until knocked off, until proven otherwise, I think we all sort of feel like they're the best 2 teams.
They're in their
country.
own tier, to be quite honest.
Yes.
Talent-wise. I think they're a step above everybody else.
I'm fine with this because you can't interchange a lot of teams in there. I think that you would see teams like why wouldn't Ole Miss be on this list?
Ole Miss is far more likely to make the playoff than Texas A&M.
I think so too. I don't know where Texas A&M gets off trying to be.
Is far more likely to make the college football playoff than Texas A&M.
I mean, we talked about Missouri having a soft schedule, and they might not have as much talent as they did last year, but you know what they have? It's a pretty darn good schedule to be able to get that path, and they're already starting off the season number 11 in the AP poll and in the Coaches Bowl.
Right.
So that's where you need to be in those. You need to have a little bit of a head start with a high ranking like Mizzou does. And again, Texas A&M, no freaking business being in there. So it's fine because I think you're just guessing at that point. Have a hard time imagining Miami getting it done either. But, again, Kansas State and Utah, for that to happen, what needs to happen?
I think both teams would have to just absolutely wreck the Big 12.
Okay.
Which may turn out to be what happens. I don't know.
I think one of those teams needs to be undefeated going into the Big 12 championship game, and the other needs to only have one loss.
I think if you combine the two, if there's one, maybe 2 losses combined going into that, then they have an outside shot. But
yes,
there's no way a 2-loss Big 12 team makes the college football playoff.
It would be tough. Okay, other bowls.
We just mentioned a lot of SEC teams that are going to be left out.
Oh, yeah.
And then in the Big 10, no mention of, I don't know, what's the other teams in the top 25 from the Big 10 that didn't get in there? I think there's a few that probably think that they're good enough to be in the mix. So there's not going to be a lot of spots. There's going to be a lot of Big 10, SEC. They're going to be higher weighted by the committee. It's going to be tough for a Big 12 team to bust in there unless you got 1 or no losses.
How are they doing the Pac-12 affiliations with the bowls?
Same as they have to.
They have to keep those old affiliations, right?
If Utah does not make it to the playoff, they would play in a Pac-12 bowl game.
Right. A traditionally older,
correct.
like
they could end up in the Alamo Bowl.
Alamo Bowl, yes.
So they could end up in the Alamo Bowl playing another Big 12 team.
Don't forget about the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. The Vegas Bowl, that could be an option.
Yes, it could.
And the Vegas Bowl, that's a Big 10 matchup, though.
The Holiday Bowl would still be in play. So,
yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
All right.
So, for instance, the Holiday Bowl has Pittsburgh versus Washington. Neither of those teams are Pac-12, but it's an ACC versus Pac-12 matchup.
So the Alamo Bowl, they have projected on Jerry Palm's list Kansas and USC.
Big 12 versus Big 10, even though it's Big
Old
12.
Pac-12.
Traditionally, Big 12, Pac-12.
Right. Okay, so that makes sense.
Yep.
BYU fans, regrettably, Jerry Palm does not feel like BYU is going to get bowl eligible. Not even the Gasparilla Bowl, huh?
I'd take a trip to Tampa in late December.
What's the one? Oh, Myrtle Beach would be pretty good. Mid-December as well. Although that's kind of a toss-up one because that's just two pool teams from kind of wherever, right? You just don't want to play in the 68 Ventures Bowl. Hey, Jeremy, what's 68 Ventures? Because right now they have it projected as.
Do I dare Google that? Why does that feel inappropriate?
Oh,
I'm on it.
Okay,
it's okay. I'll save your computer.
Let Jeremy's search history take the hit, dude. So Marshall is the Sun Belt team in that category. Rice is a bowl eligible team according to Jerry Palm. You can't put BYU.
Rice?
Yes, you can't. The Rice Owls.
Well, they do play in a G5 league.
Okay.
BYU stepped up. It's tough.
The low-key pretty darn good matchups.
This is
TCU and Auburn in the Liberty Bowl. I like that matchup.
It's like a venture capital company, so it's boring.
Okay. Investments. That's all you need to know.
Yeah,
all the buzzwords on their website make no sense. So.
Any Utah State on this board? Looks like the Idaho Potato Bowl.
Aggies left out.
Aggies and Cougars both left out of this list.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Wyoming in the Hawaii Bowl against Jacksonville State.
Ooh.
Get your tickets now. This is why bowl games need to be done away.
Yeah, and that's why this other option is a better deal. So if you
Maryland versus Ohio in the Detroit Bowl.
No.
Hard pass.
Yeah. So with this matchup and with these really ridiculous bowls, at this point it's a joke, right? But there is the possibility of other changes in college football that could actually be more exciting on the bowl front. For me, if you had a college football playoff that was a second-tier college football playoff, more group of 5 teams getting a nod. All group of 5? I would say modify it and have it still be, you're giving me the look like, no.
They'll be hijacked by 6 and 6
thing.
Syracuse every year, like in basketball.
Yeah, no, I could see that, but I think that you'd have to have, so the way you clear that bar is, you got to have 10 wins. That's my bar, okay? Anybody to play in this extra tournament has to have 10 wins, okay? I don't know where they're playing this fake championship because the reality is that this one that was brought up is a group of 5 only type of tournament. The problem is that it's not just we're talking about kicking against SEC and Big Ten in the future. Because what you'd have here is a bunch of Group of 5 teams who would be enjoying a nice playoff, right? But you would also have a bunch of teams that are in the Power 4 that should be playing in a better bowl situation, and they won't be. Okay? So for me, maybe the bar you have to clear to get into this extra playoff is you got to be a 10-win team.
I think that it's just a matter of time before the Group of 5 has to have their own playoff because they're going to have their own division. When this super conference breaks off and pulls away, you're going to have this whole section of teams between the Power whatever and the FCS that need to have some kind of championship, some kind of playoff, some kind of situation, some kind of organization. And so I think that that will develop in a similar fashion. You can call it NIT or whatever. It's just going to be a great championship for Group of 5 schools or the schools that get left behind from the Power super conference that breaks away.
Anything to make the bowl games, anything to make the bowl season a little bit more worth something. That's what I want. I don't want, and you know, before we basically tried to make a schedule for them. We're like, hey, look at the way you should do this. Because you could have these bowl games mean something else. Because you could have the first rounds of the playoffs be bowl games. And you could have, and look, you might not be that happy as a sponsor. You usually having the Holiday Bowl in San Diego, right? But if the Holiday Bowl is attached to a game at Rice-Eccles Stadium, for example, on December 20th, but it is a freaking college football playoff game, I think that they would deal with the consequences of not necessarily being in San Diego. Does that make sense, or is that insane of me to suggest?
I don't think that benefits San Diego or the Holiday Bowl to have the game in an area that's not in San Diego.
But you pay the Holiday Bowl and their group of fat cats who wear the red jackets.
Those are powerful men, Alex.
Are they?
They pull levers. They get things done.
All right.
Very powerful folks.
Fine.
Nice try, though. That's a very out-of-the-box thing to
I just want it
bring up.
I just want it to be. I want these games to mean something else. Okay.
I just want them to go away. We don't need them. I'm sorry.
I know.
A lot of the traditionalists out there are like, we love the bowls. I just don't care.
The Venture 68 Bowl.
Once you get a playoff, no one's going to care about the bowl games.
No, of course not.
Right? And it's going to be 16. It's eventually going to go to 24. So we can do away with them. Or you can incorporate them and keep all those people happy, just like they are with the 12 team. You've got the New Year's 6 bowl games. They're just going to be the quarterfinals and the semifinals, right? You get 6 bowl games, you throw them a bone.
Sure.
The most powerful ones. Everybody else, I'm sorry, if ESPN wants to have some kind of thing, like take over the Group of 5, whatever's left over, and do a tournament with them too. But let's stop doing the bowl thing. It's time for college football to grow up and have playoffs instead.
Grow up, everybody. JJ just said it. I do like that. Look, anything should be on the table right now. Just go in and find a way to make these games more interesting. Okay? Don't just prey on JJ and I because we're bored during the holidays. Okay? Yes, I'll turn on the Gasparilla Bowl.
I'm a sicko. I'll watch it.
I know. But make it worth something more. All right. Isn't that what your sponsors would want too? Games with actual ratings that mean something?
Yeah.
Of course. All right. More to go around the corner. Stay with us. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
I felt his reps in the game were really good. I mean, number one, there's a poise because he's been there. And then I felt like he was real comfortable. Again, we were in and out of the huddle. You know, there was no clock-ish. I mean, all of that was smooth, but then his decision-making, and he's aggressive. I like that he's going to take shots. He's got a good live arm. I thought he had a real good game, and I'm encouraged. You know, I like what I'm seeing.
Name that voice.
I know the voice.
The NFL Blitz. So it's an NFL coach. He's talking about a guy who run the offense. Obviously poised. Who's he talking about? Old Zach Wilson.
Sean
the
Payton.
dude couldn't play dead in the horror movie.
Come on. Sean Payton talking about Zach Wilson and what he did in the preseason game over the weekend. I don't know. Did you watch any of Zach's reps? And
Yeah, they were
felt
good.
like-
He was good. You could see there was, there was an indecisiveness at times, a lack of confidence maybe with the Jets, and I get it. Like, why would you have confidence there? But that confident, he played very confident. Like Sean saying, he wasn't afraid to take some shots. Just had real good command of the offense. I thought he looked really good. Now, is that enough to hang on in Denver? Is it enough to battle for the starting spot? I don't know. You're going up against the other team's threes because he was the third quarterback in. But he looked good. I'm a lot more positive on Zach's opportunity in Denver now than I was a couple weeks ago.
So is there a real possibility of him being QB2 then?
That's tough. How many quarterbacks are the Broncos even going to keep on the active
I just
roster?
assume now. Well, I don't know, because you're going to have Bo Nix. When you have a rookie who's very
He's your
unproven,
first-round pick.
got to have him with you. I don't know if he makes the starts. Jared Stidham is your other option, and then Zach Wilson. It almost feels like just because of the lack of experience, you'd need to carry a third quarterback as that emergency type.
And if they don't, is Zach okay going back to a practice squad at this point in his career? Probably not, right? So what do they do? Would they probably have to release him and cut him?
I don't know.
And then,
See if a team will pick him up somewhere.
but I'm more positive now. Maybe perhaps they see enough where they're going to keep that roster spot for a quarterback. It's a personnel game that these teams have to play, and there's different factors that go into it. But me personally, I'm a little biased because I love Zach and I've covered him for years. I would love to see the Broncos start Zach Wilson and bring Bo Nix along until he's ready. I don't think the Broncos are a playoff team this year. I don't think Zach Wilson's their future, but he could be their present until Bo Nix is ready. And I think it would be a huge boost for Zach to go out and start for an NFL team and prove that he can still command an NFL offense as a first-string quarterback in the league. And then whatever happens in the offseason, if he's not the future in Denver, his contract's up. If he has a really impressive season with the Broncos as their starter, he could earn that next opportunity somewhere. Because if he's really good, everyone's like, oh, this is number 2 quarterback. He's back. Oh, is the Jets stink on him? It wasn't him. He's our guy. And we can get him at a good price.
Hey, speaking of guys who are looking pretty good for your Broncos, Devon Bailey,
Yes.
who you fans would obviously
Steal.
know.
Seventh
Was he a
round
seventh
steal.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So Devon Bailey.
And give Sly credit. Stevenson Sylvester came on our show last April. March, April. We were doing draft previews. And a lot of people are thinking, Devon Bailey, why'd he leave school early? He's going to go undrafted. He says, no, he's going to get drafted. He's good enough. He's an NFL talent. Sure enough, what are we seeing in camp? Making dynamic play after dynamic play. He's going to make the Broncos roster as a 7th-round pick. There's no doubt.
Okay. Devon Bailey. They're liking him out there, too. Our sister station out there, or I guess sibling station.
Whatever.
Would they be offended to be called the sister station? Our sibling station, Denver Sports, has this full write-up. Andrew Mason did a full write-up about how Devon Bailey is just kind of showing out. And the coaches are liking him. The quarterbacks are all liking him. And they said basically the second-team offense during one of these during their period of practice that they have the move the ball period, which is just like, hey, we're just going to keep running plays. The second-team offense against the number 1 defense drove the ball down the field, 49 yards, 3 catches for Devon Bailey on that drive. And then guess what? Field goal ends in a field goal. The team loved it. I know that doesn't sound like much, but, man, I think it's awesome. We like Devon Bailey. He was one of those.
Oh, great
always
guy.
a good interview, too.
Oh, he was terrific. Great player, too.
Enough of the Denver Broncos. Let's get to the Cowboys. Let's get some real talk.
Please.
The
The next
makes me
stop for
sad.
Coach Prime.
listen.
Jerry.
What does this
Jerry
make you,
wants
why
to
does-
bring
why
Coach
does
Prime
this
back to
make you
Big D.
sad? What does this make you sad for your Cowboys?
Wait, is this a Dion one or the valuation?
Well, we'll do
You.
the valuation in a second. We all know that the Cowboys, from a franchise perspective, is always going to be the most valuable franchise in the sports world. They're the very first team that's been valued at $10 billion. And if they sold today, they'd probably be 12. I mean, honestly, right? From a money standpoint, that place prints money out of Valley Ranch, okay?
Isn't 10 what Jerry wanted to minimum a year ago?
Yeah. And it's just, look, it is crazy. But we talked about this yesterday. People are already talking about Deion Sanders. We were talking about it like a joke and we laughed it off, but there are people actually talking about Deion Sanders and how he'd be a great ad as the head coach after Mike McCarthy blows it in Dallas. That makes you sad?
Yeah, 4-8 Dion
4-8 Deion.
at Colorado.
What are you, Trump, giving people nicknames now?
He's only
4-8
coming. He's only
Deion.
coming if his boys come with him. It's a package deal.
Oh, you know what? That's
Kind of like
fine.
the LeBron Bronny thing.
That's fine. The tough thing is signing Shiloh, because Shiloh is the Bronny James of the Sanders situation. Shedeur is an actual top 10 pick. Shiloh is along for the ride, and his legal battles are not helping. I would love to see Deion on the sidelines again. No, come on, no, come on. He's your Toby, really? He's the Toby of the NFL. You don't want to see him when you roll back up? Fine. I want all of these things for the Cowboys. I want Deion Sanders to be the head coach while Dak Prescott is the quarterback, while they're still trying to figure out the CeeDee Lamb situation. All this talent going
He
totally
will want
to
to
waste.
become the first player coach. Trust me.
He would not.
With sunglasses.
You saw his beard. It is white.
It didn't stop T.O. from trying.
Oh, yeah. Well, if Deion's doing push-ups and sit-ups in his driveway, I'll be there. All right. Next up on the old list here, the Patriots have now sent their disgruntled star pass rusher to the Falcons. Matt Judon, is the guy that was. And look, by the way, if you become that squeaky wheel and you're disgruntled, a great place to try to get out of if you're disgruntled is the Patriots camp, and that's what he did. Matt Judon is going to be a Atlanta Falcon.
But here's the confusing thing. What are the Falcons doing? There's no new contract in place. Did they blow this?
They might get him, and then he'll be sitting out from there as well, trying to get
He
some
might
money.
be out of town at the end of the year.
They look, the Patriots are like this. Fine. We'll push him over to you guys. We'll push him to you guys. It's fine. And they created some cap space in Atlanta to be able to acquire. Look, it's always good to have a proven pass rush. Come on. But Matthew Judon to the Atlanta Falcons. There you go. All right, there's your update in the NFL. We'll take a break. We'll come back. When we do, we'll roll out some fun news with our best and worst, including some Utah Hockey Club news. Stay here, 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.
And now, a look at traffic from the KSL Traffic Center.
A couple of wrecks out there late on the rush hour affecting traffic heading through.
Joe, as JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone, final segment of the hour. If you miss any part of the show, go back to KSLSports.com. You can click on the podcast tab there and download any of the segments all day long, all the programs right here on the KSL Sports Zone. Best and worst, of course, we roll it out, and it's the best story of the day that we determined was the best story of the day and the worst in the world of sports. Or outside of the world of sports. Who knows? Whatever we want. For an incredible selection of Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram, visit the Doug Smith dealerships in American Fork and Spanish Fork. Great service starts with know-how, and nobody knows like Doug. Clayton Keller. That's a name that a lot of Utah hockey fans have now gotten to know, and he is named to the NHL Network's top 20 wing list. Now, in terms of prestige, I don't know where the NHL Network's top 20 wings. I could go for I could go for 20 wings right now, JJ.
I'm so hungry. I have no idea what we're talking about, but I like the wing talk.
All right. It's nice to see that Utah Hockey Club logo on an on-screen like TV breakdown, but Clayton Keller listed as number 17 of the wings in the NHL of the top 20 wings. So I love it. He's good, man. And he's going to be really good. And he's one of these guys that is one of these young core dudes who's going to be around for a long time, hopefully, with the Utah Hockey Club.
Yep. Clayton Keller is going to be a player you're going to love here. I know a lot of people listening haven't gotten into it yet, but once they start playing, you see Clayton Keller in person, he's going to be a star in this town.
And the worst is Notre Dame. Notre Dame bringing you the worst, specifically the swim program, which has now been suspended. The men's swim program. I saw this story earlier today, and I was like, what on earth is going on? Notre Dame has suspended the men's swimming program for 1 year after a probe into a gambling investigation was finished, and it was determined that the swimmers actually maintained a betting book amongst themselves on their own performances. And it's a weird thing, but the athletes are, if you're an incoming freshman, by the way, you're going to be allowed to transfer before classes begin. But imagine committing to Notre Dame and then having to go to, I don't know, pull a Rudy reference here, Holy Cross to do your swimming as you get ready for your season at Notre Dame 2 years from now. But it's a weird thing. They created their own sports book for the purpose of wagering of their own swimming performances.
Wow.
So that's what they had over-unders. Basically, if we were a radio show that was operating on campus at Notre Dame, we would be suspended for the next year. This is the kind of stuff that we do. We don't put actual money on the line.
I'm glad the NCAA is cracking down on gambling among these groups.
And the swimmers.
The NCAA basketball tournament brought to you by DraftKings.
I know. I was going to say. The NCAA is cracking down on teams lying about the injury reports, saying, quote, we just want to have clarity. On what? Nothing in particular. Good night, everybody. Yeah, they're in bed with these betting houses, but
this
only
is a tough
on their
place for this is a tough place for both pro and college athletics to be in because everybody's in bed with the draft with the gambling companies.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. All right.